And Jacob heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and from what was our father's he has acquired all this wealth. Jacob also looked at Laban's countenance, and saw that he was not toward him as he had been before. The Lord also said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field where his sheep were. And he said to them, I see that your father's countenance is not toward me as it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that with all my strength I have served your father. And your father has deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times, but God has not allowed him to harm me. If he said thus, The painted ones will be your wages, then all the sheep gave birth painted ones, and if he said like this, The lists will be your salary, then all the sheep gave birth stripes. So God took away your father's cattle and gave them to me. And it came to pass, while the sheep were in heat, that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the males that covered the females were striped, painted, and variegated. And the angel of God said to me in a dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up now your eyes, and you will see that all the males that cover the females are striped, painted, and variegated, for I have seen everything that Laban has done to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the stone, and where you made a vow to me. Arise now and leave this land, and return to the land of your birth. Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Do we have a share or inheritance in our father's house? Doesn't he already consider us as strangers, since he sold us, and has even completely eaten our price? For all the wealth that God has taken from our father is ours and our children's. Now, therefore, do everything that God has told you. Jacob flees from Laban. Then Jacob arose, and put his children and his wives on the camels. And he set out all his cattle, and all that he had acquired, the cattle of his gain which he had obtained in Padan Aram, to return to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. But Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's idols. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean, not letting him know that he was leaving. So he fled with everything he had, and he arose and crossed the Euphrates, and went to Mount Gilead. And on the 3rd day it was told Laban that Jacob had fled. Then Laban took his relatives with him, and went after Jacob on a 7-day journey, and overtook him in Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream that night, and said to him, Take care that you do not speak rudely to Jacob. So Laban overtook Jacob, and he had pitched his tent on the mountain, and Laban camped with his relatives in Mount Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What have you done, that you deceived me, and brought my daughters as prisoners of war? Why did you hide to flee, and deceive me, and not let me know so that I would send you away with joy and with singing, with drum and harp? Well, you didn't even let me kiss my sons and my daughters. Now, madly you have done. There is power in my hand to harm you, but the God of your father spoke to me last night saying, Take care that you do not speak rudely to Jacob. And since you were leaving, because you had a desire for your father's house, why did you steal my gods from me? Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, well, I thought maybe you would take your daughters from me by force. He in whose power you find your gods, let him not live. Before our brothers, recognize what I have of yours, and take it. Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Laban entered Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and the 2 maidservants' tent, and found them not, and he left Leah's tent, and entered Rachel's tent. But Rachel took the idols and put them on a camel's pack, and sat on them, and Laban searched throughout the tent, and found them not. And she said to her father, Let not my lord be angry, for I cannot stand before thee, well, I am with the custom of women. And he sought, but found not the idols. Then Jacob was angry, and quarreled with Laban, and Jacob answered and said to Laban, What transgression is mine? What is my sin, that you have come after me with so much ardor? Since you have searched through all my things, what have you found of all the belongings of your house? Place it here before my brothers and yours, and let them judge between us. These 20 years I have been with you, your sheep and your goats never miscarried, nor did I eat ram from your sheep. I never brought you what was taken by wild beasts, I paid for the damage. What was stolen both day and night, you charged me for it. By day the heat consumed me, and at night the frost, and sleep fled from my eyes. Thus I have been in your house for 20 years, I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your cattle, and you have changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac, were not with me, you would surely send me away now empty-handed, but God saw my affliction and the work of my hands, and rebuked you last night. Laban answered and said to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters, and the sons are my sons, and the sheep are my sheep, and all that you see is mine, and what can I do today to these my daughters? Or their children that they have given birth to? Come now, therefore, and let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a testimony between us two. Then Jacob took a stone and set it up as a sign. And Jacob said to his brothers, gather up stones. And they took stones and made a pile, and they ate there on that pile. And Laban called him Jegar-Sahadutha, and Jacob called him Gilead. For Laban said, this heap is a witness today between us two, therefore his name was called Gilead. And Mizpah, because he said, let the Lord watch between you and me, when we depart from one another. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, no one is with us, look, God is a witness between us two. And Laban said to Jacob, behold this heap, and behold this sign, which I have set up between you and me. This mountain be a witness, and this sign be a witness, that I will not pass over this mountain against you, nor will you pass over this mountain or this sign against me, for evil. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor judge between us, the God of their fathers. And Jacob swore by him whom Isaac his father feared. Then Jacob sacrificed victims on the mountain, and called his brothers to eat bread, and they ate bread, and slept that night on the mountain. And Laban rose early in the morning, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them, and he returned to his place.